actions speak louder than words. Many of us know this famous maxim. It carries this idea that doing is more significant than just talking, as it often produces more tangible outcomes. We can see many examples in our day-to-day lives. Like when someone wrote that they miss us, but don't bother to call to say hi, or simply close their door when we need them. That's the same when a CEO publicly tells everyone that the company is extremely invested in renewable energy and sustainability, but no funding is provided to invest and make the transition. So sometimes words can be cheap, but words can also be really powerful. They can hurt or empower people. Let's go back in time, 1588 to be precise. Spain was planning on invading England. To do so, they were sending their fleet, an armada of more than 130 ships. England had no king and was ruled by its queen, Elizabeth I. And this was really looming in the back of every English soldier's mind, because kings were the divine representative of God itself. If their king was not there to fight with them, it basically meant they were fighting without the help of God. And no one expected the queen to go on the battlefield. But she eventually did. Queen Elizabeth went on the front line and gave what is now remembered as one of the most invigorating speeches ever made. She told them, "I know, I have the body but of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and of a king of England too." Suddenly, the Englishmen had their king by their side. And Queen Elizabeth went even further than giving a speech. She was on the front line where the Spanish fleet was expected to land, and she was wearing a helmet and a steel cuirass. She was ready to battle. She was walking the talk, and her troop spirit was uplifted. She demonstrated leadership and built trust. The point is that when we are congruent, when actions meet words, this is when trust is earned. Doing what we say we were going to do builds trust. Dr. Devin Vodicka established the 4 core elements to foster trust. That's the 4C: consistency, compassion, communication, and competency. And in a study conducted with more than 87,000 leaders, Jack Zenger and Joseph Folkman found similar findings. Inherently, trust is built upon positive relationship using compassion and communication, and also requires consistency and competency. Showing confidence in the abilities of others, demonstrating empathy, giving relevant feedback, and being open to receiving some too. They are some of the activities that require compassion and communication skills, and that generate trust. In a different yet complementary way, when we constantly deliver, when we are able to execute what we say we will do, we develop trust. We are perceived as reliable. This point is crucial. Keeping promises, following through our commitments, and being able to do is what creates trust. Interestingly, when our actions demonstrate our competency, it doesn't only increase the trust others have in us, it also increases our trust in ourselves. That is developing the belief that we can perform well in a given situation, or when it comes to accomplish a challenging task. Psychologists name this notion self-efficacy. And according to a pioneer in this domain, the psychologist Albert Bandura, one of the principal ways to foster self-efficacy is to take action. We have to engage in what he calls mastery experiences, which are seen as a personal experience of success. Basically, when we engage in tasks and complete them successfully, we gain a sense of mastery over them, which reinforces our belief. But what if? What if we don't have these mastery experiences? What if we keep on failing? How can we still develop our sense of self-efficacy? There are 3 ways we could navigate this situation. First, we could try to have smaller achievements. In one of my previous videos, I quoted Admiral McMurven that stated that we need to make our bed every day. This is one of the smallest tasks to be done, but this is the first success of our day. And it creates momentum. Second, we can take a step back and look at the bigger picture. We could see our current setbacks as stepping stone in our way to our future success. Like I explained in my last videos, we can adopt a realistic, optimist view of the world, where we acknowledge the difficulties of our current situation, but we have the certainty that in the end we will prevail. And the last point is to reframe obstacles. It's seeing a failed attempt as a valuable lesson. It's seeing a difficulty as an opportunity. As Nelson Mandela said, I never lose. I either win or learn. And it's never easy in the heat of the moment to look at things that appear negative and find their silver linings. It requires constant effort to rewire our brain, to make the deliberate choice to find what's good in the bad. But we have this power. The power to choose our interpretation. The power to choose how we are affected by challenges. The power to choose how we respond to them. If you think this video could be useful to someone you know, please share it. And if you want more, follow me on my socials. See you soon!